guys, it's Eleanor again, and welcome to my September book haul. Please ignore any background noise and the lighting. It's raining, but I'm at a convention all weekend, so I'm not likely to have much time to do this video otherwise, so I figured I'd grab the time now since I'm home a bit earlier than expected. So yeah, my monthly book haul for September. I was a little bit more restrained in September, a lot more restrained in September. So I guess here I go. The first thing on my list is my usual audiobook with my Audible credit. This time I got Briar's book, or The Healing in the Vine, by Tamora and Forecast Audio. I obviously have the hard copy, but you know, I now have it on audiobook. So that was my audio book for the month. I also acquired a textbook. This is Myth in the Ancient World by Ian Plant. I'm currently studying Myth in the Ancient World this spring. So you can see there's already tags through it because I'm already using it. But yeah, it's a basic beginner's guide to ancient myth and gods and goddesses and such things. So with a lot of ancient sources in the back. So yeah, so that was my textbook. This book I didn't buy, but was given by a colleague at work. Views from Olympus, A History of Ancient Greece by Maurice. This was her high school ancient history textbook, and she knows that I'm studying ancient history, and so she found it in her garage and decided to give it to me. So I haven't had a look at it yet. I don't know how useful it will be, but yeah, I acquired it, so I guess it counts in my book haul. Then I did do a visit to my favourite secondhand bookshop and near the start of the month, and I picked up this, which is Vegie Food from Veggies on the side to the main event. Yeah, it's a recipe book, so obviously it's not going on my TBR, thank goodness, and the tags show that I've already been through it, and I've already tried at least one recipe from it, which I quite enjoyed. It was a spinach and cheese rustic Greek pie. So that was really nice. But yeah, so I'm a vegetarian, so I like the occasional secondhand vegetarian cookbook, and so I also acquired that this week. See, there was a lot of really odd things in my book haul for this month. So yeah, and the other secondhand book that I bought was The Black Swan by Lackey. This appears, I've mentioned various Lackey books in other videos recently. I've never read this before, but it appears to be a retelling of Swan Lake, which is, of course, most famously known as the ballet, which I think I have actually seen it performed on stage. But this appears to be from Odil's perspective, who is the Black Swan, the daughter of the Baron, who is the bad guy in Swan Lake, and this is from her perspective, and it seems to be that she has the chance to make things better. So she's the only child, and she studied magic, but she's afraid of her father. Her father keeps capturing women and turning them into swans. She's learned far more than her father intended to teach her, both the magical arts and of von Rothbart's idiosyncratic nature, and both as a woman and the guardian of his swan flock, her heart goes out to each and every young maiden ensorcelled by her vindictive father. And then the noblest of von Rothbart's enchanted flock, the Princess Odette, finds the courage to confront her captor, wresting from him a pact which could lead to freedom for herself and all the swan maidens. Knowing von Rothbart will use all of his magical cunning to avoid honouring this pact, will Odile have the strength to face him in a final magical confrontation, which, if she fails, will lead to her death and the murder of all in her flock. So it looks like it's possibly a slightly feminist retelling of Swan Lake, and from Odile's perspective, which I'm really interested in. So I like the story, I like the ballet, so I'm really interested to have a look at that. And then there are two other books that I've bought this month. One is this lovely edition of the Iliad by Homer. It's not a required text to have a full copy for my class, but I already own, you would have seen a couple of book hauls ago, the Odyssey, and there is a week in my class this spring that we will be reading a section of the Odyssey, and so the Iliad, and so I thought I would get a really nice, pretty version. This is the Penguin Classics version. Yeah, so that's another one. You know, I seem to be obsessed with getting pretty version of classics these days. So that is the Iliad by Homer. And then, on a bit of a whim, and because it was short and I thought I might read it on my time off that I had last week, although I didn't, I picked up the Book of Pheonix by Nnedi Okorafor. I've heard Elizabeth over on Books and Pieces raving about this book recently, and I really loved Nnedi's novella Binti earlier this year when I read it. And so this is one of her, I guess, novels, but it's quite a short novel. It's only 230 pages long. But it seems to be about a woman called Pheonix who is a genetic experiment, and she's quite happy in Manhattan in her only home she's ever known. She's 2 years old but has the body and mind of an adult, and she's got special powers. She's innocent and lives quietly and falls in love with another biological altered human by Saeed, and everything's fine until Saeed witnesses something so terrible that he takes his own life, and according to this, Pheonix begins to search for answers, and everything gets a bit, strange and nuts. But, it's like I said, it's Nnedi Okorafor, who I've really liked the one thing I've read of hers, and Elizabeth at Books and Pieces really raved about it, so I thought I would pick it up. I really like the look of the cover, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a very long read, so yeah, looking forward to picking it up at some stage. And that is my September book haul. I did actually acquire 3 other books today, but they were as part of the Conflux convention, and I've still got another 3 days of the convention to go, and so they'll have their own sort of book haul after the convention's finished. So yeah, this book haul was a bit shorter than the last couple of months, and I guess I will see you again next weekend for my monthly wrap up for September. Have fun and talk to you soon. Bye.